It's midday on 3FM 92.7. Welcome to the news coming to you live from our studios here at Adesawe Kanda, Accra. Coming up this afternoon, Minister of Education hints government intends to phase out teacher trainee allowances by implementing an enhanced loan scheme. Also this afternoon, Deputy Speaker defends his management of the appointment committee, insisting he cannot be blamed for chaos. Meanwhile, security has been beefed up as parliamentary proceedings resume. Later on, we tell you why the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists are calling on authorities to step up surveillance in the wake of the outbreak of cerebrospinal meningitis in parts of the country. Details of these and more. My name is Grace Hammoah Agyemang. Stay with us. Thank you for joining us. The bulletin begins right here and right now. The Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu, says government intends phasing out teacher trainee allowances by implementing an enhanced loan scheme. Speaking to leadership of the Conference of Principals of Colleges of Education, the minister argued all tertiary institutions must be brought to the same level. The subject of trainee allowances has been controversial for the two main parties in the last couple of years. Despite being scrapped by the previous NDC government, the NPP government restored it, but it appears the current NDC government wants to approach the issue differently. The Education Minister, during a meeting with Conference of Principals of Colleges of Education, gave an indication of government intentions to gradually phase out the allowances. He explains the education forum to be organized by government will look into the matter.
You raise the issue of student allowances. It will continue. Subsequent to the Education Forum, for which I have the pleasure to invite you to come, we'll take some major decisions based on the recommendations. But off-head, there is no way you should be feeding a student at the tertiary level off-head. So we have to work out a transition from the allowance into an enhanced student loan for them to feed themselves. But in the interim, they will still get the allowances. Then just the next very few months going forward, subject to the recommendations of the committee. But I cannot conceive of a student in a higher education institution being fed. We can narrow feeding to basic and to free senior high school, but at the tertiary level, so they will still get enhanced student loans to be able to feed themselves. But in the interim, we will continue with the feeding and then phase out the allowance process, subject to the recommendations of the Education Forum. But we would do that.
Education Minister Haruna Idrisu there. Let's speak to Abdul Razak Swale, President of the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana. Razak, thank you for joining us this afternoon. We know how crucial, how important these allowances are to the students' body. If government is phasing it out, what does this mean to your welfare and upkeep?
Yes, good afternoon, and thank you for having me on your platform. Good afternoon to all my colleagues too as well. I think we have received with great concern what the Honorable Minister for Education was saying. Yeah, he was actually talking about the feeding in the colleges of education, and then the allowances that comes to this. For us as students, the allowance is a great buffer for us, even though it is currently the amount is something that is little. Which we are currently urging for government to increase so as to be able to cater for the needs and then the other aspects of it to students in the colleges of education. But receiving this news, we would definitely be engaging with the Honorable Minister in the subsequent weeks to come, and we seek to find out some of the best alternatives that are going to be rolled out for students in the colleges of education. and then we're going to revert back with our people as we work as a team, and then discuss the pros and cons of it, and then let the Honorable Minister know our stance.
So, Razak, you've already mentioned that the amount you even receive now as allowances not enough. But from conversations with your colleagues and all, how do they spend these allowances? What does it go into? Is it sufficient for feeding or for books, or where does it go to?
Yes, for now, the allowances is 400 Ghana cedis that is paid by government to students. With this 400 Ghana cedis, 261 goes to the principals and the colleges to use sustain feeding, with only 149 Ghana cedis coming to students as their take-home allowances. So you got to realize that the amount is not so sufficient, because the idea or the brain behind the reintroduction of the allowance in 2017 is something that is so difficult to reach with the 149 Ghana cedis. So for us as students, we had begun this course proposing for an increment in the teacher training allowances, just so it will be able to cater for its needs for students in the colleges, and also helping our principals to be able to give us quality and good meal in the colleges of education. So it has been a long time call coming. We have been pushing. So cancelling or removing the teacher training allowances is something that is not going to help us as students in the college.
If you listen to the minister, it looks like it will not be a total cancellation, but rather it's a replacement with a loan scheme. Wouldn't you think that is rather good, because you are able to get more than you're getting when it comes to the allowance?
Yes, like I began my comment, you are right. If you listen to the Honorable Minister, he was talking about a sustainable way of handling it. And just like in my previous statement, the allowances is a great buffer to students, and it is something we as students will not want to lose, because even if we are doing away with the allowances, then the question of feeding comes in. And the colleges of education are not built just like the traditional universities or even the senior high schools, where students can be able to cook while still stay in those structures. We have issues with our infrastructure challenges that is making it difficult for students to be able to cater for themselves. That is, if we even give them the soft loan or the student loan that the Honorable Minister was actually suggesting. So we look forward to how the student loan and then maybe infrastructure in the colleges is going to be beefed up to be able to ensure that students will be able to maximize the help of the student loan or maybe any other alternatives that will be introduced by the government.
Okay. All right, Razak, thank you for talking to us. Abdul Razak Swale is president of the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana. Away from that, Chairman of Parliament's Appointment Committee, Bernard Ahiafo, has defended his work despite criticism blaming him for the recent chaotic scenes. He explains he rather attempts not to always be combative to enable hearing proceed smoothly.
I see, but if you're raising this concern, and I come back to you as a chair of this same committee that you raise concerns about some of the questions that you allow, would you also take part of the blame that it's because you allow some of these questions that you are telling me right now that are irrelevant, that then also contributes to the length of time that some of these persons appear before the committee spent, and that affects subsequent scheduled nominees?
Well, this is the way I look at it as a chair of the committee. If overruling that simple question with the task clearance before us can generate a debate, which debate would go a length more than the answer that the nominee will give, I will allow the question. Because we have quite a number of people to be vetted a day. So if my ruling, in my wisdom, if the ruling on the matter can generate a debate at the committee level, which debate may take a period longer than a simple answer that I have my task clearance before you,
right,
I will allow the nominee to just answer the question and matter close.
Chairman of Parliament Appointment Committee, Bernard Hiafo, there he has also been speaking about his relationship with the Speaker and the action taken by the Speaker during the chaos.
See, but which law, really? Which
Yes.
law gives the Speaker the powers to suspend these 4 members of Parliament for this number of days? Which specific provision?
Well, I think we have to look at the combined effect of Standing Order 5, 129, 130, there about the combined effect. We give the authority to the Speaker so to do.
To suspend members of Parliament?
Yes.
From attending to the business of the House?
Yes.
Depriving their constituents of representation?
He has that particular power.
He has the power.
Even every member of Parliament can suffer a suspension.
Even before they are heard?
If a member of Parliament cannot suffer, you see, the difference is that if the incidents had happened outside Parliament and a report is made to Parliament, the approach would have been different. You go to court and commit contempt before the court and see whether the court will give you a hearing before making pronouncement on you. That is contempt in facie query.
What's the meaning of that?
Contempt, that is contempt in the presence of the court.
Bernard Hiafo, Chairman of Parliament Appointment Committee. Meanwhile, Parliament is expected to sit to begin business for the 4th week. This comes in the wake of controversies surrounding the vetting of ministerial appointees and the suspension of 4 members of Parliament. Already, the minority has sent a memo to the Speaker asking him to reverse his decision amid counter-claims that have surfaced over the period. Christian Yali, my colleague, is in the chamber, joins us for more. Christian, what is on the table for the House today? Hello, Christian. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Grace.
Yes. Talk to us about the agenda for the House today.
All right, great. So even before I get to that, I can confirm to you that the New Patriotic Party have clad themselves in black and red just in front of the Parliament House, protesting and chanting songs that they are going to resist oppressors' rule. And so right now, even before the chamber sits or even before Parliament sits, all the NPP MPs are clad in red and in black attire, protesting and singing war songs as it stands currently. And we don't know what is influencing this decision or what they do right now, but that is the situation right now at Parliament Place.
Christian, is this happening on the floor or the presence of the House?
It's presence of Parliament right in front of the main entrance.
We understand that there's also police barricades and heavy police presence. We know what is that for.
Exactly. That barricade is expected to prevent the suspended MPs from entering the chamber. And so we understand that. I mean, and it's not even something we understand. We know and we can confirm that there are more police present here trying to, and all the access, all the gates leading into the chamber have all been locked with only that one that has been barricaded to prevent the suspended MPs from entering the chamber. Great.
The NPP MPs who are protesting, I can hear them singing and help us to resist oppressors' rule. Who and who do you see the leadership of the NPP there? I'm sorry, I've lost my colleague Christian Yale. We'll connect with him again so he brings us up to speed on that protest by the NPP MPs. But if you just tuned in, Christian Yale is telling us that when you go to Parliament now and you get to the precinct of Parliament just before the entrance of the House, NPP MPs are clad in red and black, protesting what they say is an indecisive decision or action by the Speaker of Parliament for suspending 3 of their members because of an incident that happened during the last parliamentary sitting. We'll bring you a lot more on this when we're able to connect with my colleague Christian Yelle. You can hear them singing and help us to resist oppressors' rule and all of those other war songs. Let's do some more stories now. The National Tripartite Committee has commenced negotiations on the 2025 national minimum wage. The committee, comprising representatives from the government, employers and organized labor, began discussions on Monday, February 3, to determine the new wage levels for the upcoming year. The outcome of the negotiation is expected to influence economic planning and wage adjustments across various sectors. The process, initially slated for completion by April 2024, is behind schedule according to the Public Financial Management (PFM) Act. Government is therefore urging all stakeholders to expedite negotiations to ensure outcomes are factored into the 2025 national budget. When we go to the health sector this afternoon, the Ghana Association of Medical Lab Scientists has underscored the vital role of medical laboratory testing in the early detection, accurate diagnosis, and effective management of cerebrospinal meningitis, CSM. The association is therefore calling on the Ghana Health Service and healthcare facilities to prioritize laboratory diagnostics and urge relevant authorities to ensure the provision of necessary logistics and resources to laboratories, particularly in the affected regions. The association, in a press release, has urged government, public health institutions, and other stakeholders to intensify public health education campaigns focused on CSM prevention, early recognition of symptoms, and the importance of seeking timely medical attention. We're working the phone to speak to Dr. Gloria Amegacha, who is PRO of the association. When we're able to, we'll talk to him about this. Meanwhile, following the outbreak of CSM and its associated death in the Ashanti, in the Upper West region, the Ashanti Regional Health Directorate has stepped up monitoring to prevent the spread of the disease. Though the region is yet to record a case between January 1, 2025 and now, the health authorities say they are mounting strategies to ensure that people do not die from the disease needlessly. Let's connect with Ibrahim Abubakar in the region, who has been observing a series of meetings on this. Ibrahim, talk to us about these meetings and why they have become important for the region.
Well, Grace, as I speak to you, all health directors in all the 47 districts in the Ashanti region have converged at the health directorate, the regional health directorate, for this meeting. They said it is important, even though the region is here to record a single case. But currently, you look at Upper West, over 10 people have died from meningitis. And when you look at the history of Ashanti region, even though they are doing their best, they want to upgrade it. Last year, we recorded 42 cases of meningitis. One died. Last 2 years, 30 cases, one died. But this year, they are even preventing the spread of the disease at all. In case we even record it, they are trying to map out strategies so that no one will succumb to meningitis in the region. So currently, they have intensified education, and after the meeting, they will know what's next to do in terms of the various health facilities so that we wouldn't be seeing the spread of meningitis in the region. The regional health director, Dr. Fred Adumako Mensah, has been speaking with regards to this.
The problem with meningitis is that when you get it, the likelihood of dying is so high if you really are not conscious and detect it early. And that's the very reason why we are here. Yeah. Secondly, spreading from one person to other is also very high. And so that's the reason why we are here. We do what we call surveillance. Every week, we record cases of these meningitis that we are suspecting, confirming in our labs. What do we need to do? Hand hygiene with soap and running water, or sanitizers. The use of masks when we are coughing or we have cold. As much as possible, let's avoid overcrowding. Then adequate hydration. And more importantly, if you have any of these signs and symptoms, let's report early to any health facility.
Dr. Adumakoda Ibrahim, quickly before I let you go, how are residents in the region reacting to this, and also what hygienic practices are they ensuring that they don't get the disease?
Well, Grace, interestingly, you speak to residents. Most of them are even unaware of the outbreak of meningitis in the northern part of the country. But they say that then they have to go back to the COVID days, whereby they will have to start wearing nose masks and the rest so that they will prevent the spread. In fact, when the regional director was speaking, he said even if you don't have anything doing outside, you can stay indoors. But for most people, especially in Kumasi, where most people are traders, moving out is necessary, just that they will have to abide by these safety protocols so that they prevent contracting the meningitis. So people are willing to abide by those things.
All right, Ibrahim, thank you for bringing us up to speed. And you also take care of yourself. My colleague, Ibrahim Abubakar, in the Ashanti region. Talking about Ashanti region, though, management of Asante Kotoko has asked the Inspector General of Police to investigate his men who were deployed to the Nana Komansa Park at Nswatre during the march between Nswatreman and Kumasi Asante Kotoko, which resulted in the death of Eric Nkansa, popularly known as Nana Poli. Management of the Kumasi Bay Sporting Club has put on hold all football activities after a brief meeting with the IGP. William Evansinkum is on standby, joins us for more on this. William, talk to us about the mood when the IGP met with the Kotoko management as well as the family.
Well, so a mixture of sober reflection and anger on the part of management and, of course, family members. The IGP first met with management of Asante Kotoko, led by the IMC chairman, Nana Kwaku Apenkra. And, of course, Nana Kwaku Apenkra expressed concern about how his men handled the issue when, that kind of misunderstanding broke out during Nswatreman and Kotoko clash. Something that the IGP also understands. Of course, he said that, yes, he has heard that there were some security gaps as far as his men deployed to that particular match day was concerned. It's something that is also going to investigate thoroughly. The IGP has promised Asante Kotoko and supporters of Asante Kotoko and that of management that the police are going to launch a full-scale investigation. There's not going to be any bias as far as this particular issue is concerned, although it involves a high-ranking political figure. But the IGP has given management of Kotoko and that of supporters an assurance that they are going to do their part to ensure that justice is served. Of course, this is the same thing that he told the wife of the late Yao Frempong. Of course, he has also said that he's going to give the wife a clinical psychologist who will also help the wife, mentally in these trying times. As I speak to you now, the IGP is currently with the family of Pole, the man who was stabbed at Nswatre, to console them.
We know that the IGP also condemned his men. Tell us more about that.
Well, absolutely. That was when Nana Penkra said, raised concern about how his men deployed to the Nswatreman Park or Nana Konamansa Park to provide security during that match day, how they handled that particular situation when the temperatures were boiling up. The IGP has said that, yes, he has taken cognizance with that. He will not argue because he thinks that there were some security lapses over there, but he's going to investigate. And whoever, is found culpable will also be made to face full sanction.
Evans, thank you for bringing us those details. We'll definitely come back to you after that meeting with the IGP and the family. William Evansinku, my colleague, also in the Ashanti region. Still on this, the Nswatreman Traditional Council has expressed heartfelt condolence to Otumfuo, the family of the deceased, the widow, and the entire Kumasi Asante Kotoko football fraternity over the unfortunate incident. Let's connect with my colleague, Belinda Tete, who has more on this. Belinda, this definitely is a matter of concern for the traditional authorities. What more have they been saying about the incident?
Right, good afternoon. And after this morning, the Traditional Council expressed their concern to the bereaved family, as well as the Asante Man, who was the Otumfuo for the overlord of the Asante Man. And their concern is that, per their investigation, the person who has been found to be guilty for the crime is not from Nswatre, but the person is from Brekum. And they are still not able to figure out the person, but information reaching them is that the person is not from Nswatre. And so they are still helping the police and the security agency with investigations to get the person that the culpable, so they'll hold him against the law. And the Banahini, I spoke to the Banahini this morning, and he tells me that Honorable Bafo was picked up by the police yesterday. And as of today, he's been arraigned before court. Reason being that yesterday on the park, there was a confrontation between him and the deceased. And the deceased had to, later in the day, apologize to the Honorable.
Okay.
But they are having some, there's a school of thought that says he might be, or he might have persuaded the person to have done something to the deceased.
Okay,
and
because we're not able to substantiate all of these claims and allegations, let's just listen to the SOT of the Traditional Council, and then we'll come back to you.
All right.
And yes, at my and as Antamana, a agora, Idian Keka, a Busian boom, Eka Krubum, Eka my boom, and Yadia, I say Mujajigu. Tin and I can say, Yama Utumfo, and as Antamana Yako. Na Abrantiano Nebusianso, and an ere, Mobia Yako. A Bosha, a woman said, say anybody for your cream and quadia, you could and you be enfound. Tibia no umbedeji yaso ene a police for ne abambofo no beka bom na tokro bia ni pana kwehye no e betwena pie na mra bia wo Ghana no ene ejine e de asomdwe so abrabusua no a be de chef no obi e justice.
So you heard the Nswatre Traditional Council assuring the family and the deceased also of justice for the deceased and also for Asanteman. Still in Ashanti region, the Ashanti Regional Education Directorate has launched an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the clash between students of the Kumasi Technical Institute and the Kumasi Anglican Senior High School last week. Students of the two educational institutions clashed last Thursday, causing extensive damage to properties. Reports indicate that students burnt car tires and vandalized properties, including vehicles. Ibrahim, we know that you have been following up on this story. Talk to us on what you've gathered so far.
Well, Grace, as we speak, we are here to establish the exact cause of the clash. We do not know who started it, but you engage both factions, they will tell you that it is the other group that started. But this basically was after they were done with their inter-schools competition, athletics competition at Baba Yara Sports Stadium on Thursday. And whoever knows Kumasi knows that KTI and Kumasi Anglican School cars, it is just a street that divide the two schools. So they are like brothers, but this ritual of clashing every year is also there. Anytime there is interco or even football competition, they usually clash. So on Thursday, they clash again, leading to the vandalization of properties. In fact, we were told that it was students of Kumasi Anglican who attacked that of KTI. Then KTI also took a revenge, and they came to the school and just started pelting stones, which led to the destruction of the windscreen of so many vehicles that have impacted, and even the notice board. So as we speak, the Ghana Education Service, the regional directorate in Kumasi, have formed a committee, and they have begun with the investigation to establish what exactly triggered this confusion and who are involved. They have stated clearly that whoever is found culpable will be punished so that it will serve as deterrent to the other schools, because this is becoming too many, more schools clashing violently and ending up destroying school properties and the like.
Ibrahim, thank you for bringing us those updates. Ibrahim Bubakar, my colleague in the Ashanti region, updating us on that clash between the students of Kumasi Technical Institute and the Kumasi Anglican Senior High School. He says authorities are working hard to bring to book the culprit, punish them so it serves as a deterrent to others. And it is becoming one too many the issues or the incidents of senior high schools clashing among themselves. Intercourse is supposed to be fun. It's a sporting activity. I don't know why it ends up like that. But well, for us here, that's how we wrap up our package for you on the media news on 3FM 92.7. Stories that came through as headlines this afternoon. Ministry of Education hints government intends to phase out teacher trainee allowances by implementing an enhanced loan scheme. Also, Deputy Speaker defends his management of the appointment committee, insisting he cannot be blamed for chaos. Meanwhile, security has been beefed up as parliamentary proceedings resume, and NPP MPs in the House are clad in red and black this afternoon, protesting the suspension of some of its members after chaos during the last vetting. Ghana Association of Medical Lab Scientists call on authorities to step up surveillance in the wake of the outbreak of cerebrospinal meningitis in parts of the country. Many thanks for making time to join us. My name is Grace Hammoah Agyemang. Good afternoon. Enjoy the rest of our programs. We have business coming up shortly.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
3 FM.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
Follow us on social media. Twitter at 3FM927. Facebook at 3FM927. And also on 3news.com.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, Deloitte warns Ghana and Nigeria on economic hurdles but sees brighter prospects for Ghana. Plus, government urged to actively partake in food production using cheap labor from national service personnel to ease food inflation. These stories and many more coming up shortly in the next 10 minutes. Please stay. Thank you so much for your time. Straight into our top story. And professional services firm Deloitte has warned that high inflation, currency volatility and restrictive monetary policies are major hurdles for economic growth in Ghana and Nigeria. However, it sees a more favorable outlook for Ghana in the short to medium term. The following News Desk report has the details.
Professional services firm Deloitte is cautioning the governments of Ghana and Nigeria about the challenges posed by high inflation, debt, and currency depreciation, warning that these factors could limit economic growth in 2025. In its Global Economic Outlook January 2025 report, Deloitte highlights that both countries have experienced sharp currency declines, with the Nigerian naira losing over 40% of its value and the Ghanaian cedi depreciating by over 20% against the US dollar in the first half of 2024. This has significantly impacted their ability to import raw materials and essential equipment. Despite these challenges, Deloitte expresses optimism about Ghana's economic prospects, citing a 4.7% year-on-year GDP growth in the first quarter of 2024, driven by strong industrial sector performance. It also notes that the country is making progress in recovering from a debt crisis, with ongoing debt restructuring and support from the IMF, which has disbursed a total of $1.56 billion since 2023. Meanwhile, Deloitte urges both nations to prioritize measures that will stabilize their economies for long-term growth.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report. Meanwhile, economist Dr. Felix Esilfi has called on the government to play a more active role in food production to curb a rising food inflation. Despite a slight drop in headline inflation to 23.5% year-on-year, food inflation increased marginally to 28.3% in January 2025. Speaking to 3 Business, Dr. Esilfi emphasized the need for the government to leverage national service personnel as an affordable labor force to boost food production and improve supply across the country.
We saw a massive participation of government in, farming, where we saw almost every region, or if not almost, I think a larger proportion of a larger part of the country engaged in farming, specifically maize production, where national service personnel who would have stayed in offices and be used as messengers were put on farms to produce, and these, the harvest from these farms were used to stock our buffer company, and then it was being released periodically to stabilize food prices in our system. I think we need to go back. In this case, government ought to take active participation in food production by using the cheap labor that we have, in terms of the national service personnel, that we release them into the system and we put them in offices where they are not actually needed.
You heard the agricultural economist Dr. Felix Esilfi speaking there. Still on agriculture, and the Ghana Statistical Service is conducting the Ghana Core Agriculture and Production Methods Survey to enhance data on the country's agricultural sector and improve food production. This initiative aims to provide a baseline assessment of the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 program, generating reliable and up-to-date benchmark information on the agricultural sector. The survey will help bridge Ghana's data gaps, ultimately informing policy decisions and promoting evidence-based planning. Isu Afram is the acting government statistician for economy and data science.
When we say agricultural survey, that means we are going to send people to homes to collect information on agriculture. You see, in Ghana, one of the major activities we do is agriculture. We know that agriculture employs more people in Ghana than all the other sectors. So this information that we are going to collect is very, very important. It's going to help policy makers to know everything about agriculture in terms of the production, in terms of the people who work in agriculture, in terms of agriculture input, so that we can implement policies which will help our agriculture sector to grow.
He further appealed to the public to cooperate with the field staff by providing the necessary information. Additionally, he cautioned Ghanaians to be vigilant and watch out for potential fraudsters who may attempt to exploit the situation.
What I want to just conclude is that we in Ghana Social Service specializes in data, and the data is useful for the government, for policymakers, entrepreneurs to plan. In fact, everybody is going to have a set or a cultural T-shirt and also ID card. You see, we are going to give the people ID card. So if anybody comes to your house and he doesn't have ID card, please check his ID card and demand that the person show you his or her ID card.
So you heard that Isu Afram, he's the acting government statistician for economy and data science, bringing an end to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, please check out our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Urban Blend continues and Black Rasta is on standby. Do stay tuned.